Welcome back to René of Paris today for another live stream. Today I'm going to be having a very special guest joining me. It's of course still Alopecia Awareness Month as it is September, so this will be kind of an alopecia themed kind of just wig chat, sort of like an interview, but just a little we're gonna just hang out and have a little chat about wigs, alopecia, and all that good stuff. So she'll be joining me in just a moment here, but she is just such a fabulous presence here on social media, here on YouTube and on Instagram, makes really fantastic wig reviews, amazing wig tips and advice as well. So I'm just going to add her in, and she can also introduce herself as well. There we go. Hi, Lisa.
Hi. How are you?
Thank you so much for joining me today for this little wig chat, hang out. Also, Avalon looks so lovely on you. So in case anyone
thank you.
We are wearing the same wig style today.
It looks good on you too.
Oh, thank you, and I love the way you have it styled. I'm definitely going to ask you to kind of go over that in a minute. But for starters, do you want to just introduce yourself to everybody?
Sure. I'm Lisa, if you don't know me, from Beautiful You Wig Reviews, and just really happy to be here talking to Abby today.
Yeah, I'm so excited that you're here as well. Your content that you make with the wig reviews and wig tips and advice are really just amazing, and I know we're going to talk about a lot of that good stuff today. So if anyone is not following Lisa already, if you don't know Lisa, she's amazing. Follow her on Beautiful You Wig Reviews. But for starters, do you want to just, we'll just kind of rewind and just talk about alopecia in general, just because it is Alopecia Awareness Month. Do you want to tell me a little bit about your personal alopecia story?
Sure. So I was diagnosed with alopecia areata in 2003, and it was just started off, my hairdresser found it. I was getting, haircut highlights, and there were 3 little patches in the back. You've heard this before, probably been there before. And, they injected those with steroids, and the hair came back, and they told me, you're probably just stressed and don't worry about it, and so it didn't come back for about 5 years. And then it came back with a vengeance, and those patches started getting bigger. And, those steroid shots, they can only do so much steroids, so many steroids in your head, shots in your head. And they just kind of quit working. So I tried an alternative treatment. I went to a different dermatologist, and they tried something called squaric acid, which is where they create an allergic reaction on your scalp. And the idea is they want to distract those immune cells from your hair follicles over to that allergic reaction. And the problem is I'm super allergic. So, and I had explained this to the doctor, and I ended up just I was just too reactive. Like, my face swelled up, and it was just a mess, and it wasn't worth it. And honestly, it only worked. You know how alopecia treatments are. They tend to only work as long as you're using the treatment, right. And then your hair is going to fall out again because your body is just attacking it, if you have autoimmune, that is. So that actually caused my body to just have this huge immune reaction, and I lost all my hair. Didn't lose my eyebrows or my lashes, but lost all my hair in 2017. And so I was thrust into wearing wigs immediately. I wasn't using toppers or any kind of alternative hair at the time. Now that I know enough about alternative hair, I kind of wish that I was, my hair was so thin, and I had those patches in the back. I could have at least maybe had a topper and, had a little more hair, but I didn't know anything about it. So, anyway, I've been wearing wigs ever since 2017, and just started my Instagram just to reach out to other women with hair loss, because I had really great friends who were very supportive at the time, but they weren't going through what I was going through. Right. And when I found all these accounts, so nice. So
yeah, it really is just amazing the kind of alopecia wig community we have here on social media, because I think a lot of people can resonate with what you just said, is that people in our lives will be very supportive, and but they can't really understand what we're going through personally. So it is just so nice to connect with other people who have gone through that experience, like you were describing, finding that small patch of hair. It gets bigger. You don't know what to do. The doctors don't really know what to do either. It's a very kind of alarming process. And also what you said about how you wish you knew about toppers and things back then is so interesting to me as well, because now you're someone who makes content kind of showing the different options that are out there. And I can't even imagine how many other people that has helped to see that those other options exist.
Yeah, I hope so. That's why I agreed to do all these reviews, and that's why I'm here, is because I you know, I felt this huge loneliness, even though I had a great support group around me and I have a very supportive husband and all that, but I still just felt this devastation and loss and mourning. And it's so private, you know, even though your friends are trying to help you and your family's trying to help you, but it's so private. And so I just always felt like I wanted other people in the community, you know, come to me. I know what you're going through and I don't want you to feel alone. And so I try to tell people that all the time, you know, with messaging and, you know, in comments and stuff like that, just that, you know, I totally get it. Even if it's one patch, it's still devastating because it's so scary what's going to happen next. And, you know, or if you've lost all of it, or if you're going through cancer treatment or whatever the reason may be, you know, it's just, particularly for us as women. I mean, I don't want to downplay it with men because I know it's hard for men to lose their hair too. And sometimes I think men don't get a good rap. Like people are like, oh, you're just supposed to deal with it and be a big boy. And it is hard for them. But for women, I think, you know, that's just it's our crowning glory, right? I mean, look how much time, I think about how much time I used to spend on my hair with. Honestly, I don't miss that part.
Yeah.
It's like being able to use a wig now.
Of course. It's funny, you don't even kind of realize the upsides until after maybe years of wearing wigs. You're like, you know what, this is kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. And like, I know you're traveling right now, and you know, when you travel, I mean, it's just like, it's so awesome. We just got back from a cruise, and I'm like throwing on this hair, you know, and people are like, how'd you do your hair like that? How'd you get that curl? And I'm just like,
it's so funny.
Some people
on a cruise too, especially if you change colors, because people are like, did you just dye your hair on this cruise?
Yeah. I know, and I'm pretty open. I usually would just tell people, you know, because I don't know, I kind of feel like I'm being a liar or something, you know, but there's some situations where you just kind of own it. You're like, oh, thank you, you know, but then when they want to know more, then I'll be like, well, it's actually a wig, you know, so.
That was something I was going to ask you about, because I think that's something that a lot of people in our community kind of encounter, especially if they are someone who does change their hair up on a regular basis. How do you usually react when people ask you questions? Because I just want to say right off the bat is some people feel comfortable talking about it and some people don't really want to talk about it, and that's perfectly fine. I'm just curious how you personally do it.
I talk about it usually. And it's always amazing to me. Like, so for all of you who are watching this who are worried that somebody knows you're wearing a wig, I can almost guarantee you they do not. I mean, it just used to amaze me. That was actually one of the biggest confidence builders when I first started wearing wigs, was, you know, you'd be at the grocery store or something and somebody's like, gosh, I love your hair. And then, and you're kind of being sheepish about like, oh my gosh, they're going to look too close and they're going to know it's a wig, you know? And so I had to learn how to just be like, well, thank you. But then there a lot of times, you know, especially if you're like in your neighborhood or whatever, they'll be like, well, who does your hair and who cuts your hair and I love that color. How'd you get that color? And then I'm like, okay, I just have to confess, you know? So now I'm much more open. But I remember when that happened, when I first started wearing wigs, I was like panicked, you know? But then I realized after I got home, they don't know, you know, they don't know it's a wig. They think that's my hair. So like, I just told myself, like, get over the whole phobia of everybody knows you're wearing a wig, you know, because they really don't. So I'm really open. I mean, now I figure I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, like, just tell people, you know, so.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think those first few conversations I had with people made me really, really nervous when I was first starting to like open up about my alopecia. I would maybe go to work or something in a different wig, and I just knew people would ask me questions, and I would be so terrified. But I feel like every time you do it, it also just gets easier. And you kind of also learn how to navigate those situations. If you feel like talking about it, you can choose to. But sometimes, for me, I feel like I don't have the energy to explain the whole thing to them. So if they'll compliment my hair, I'll just be like, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't always.
I'm the same way. Or maybe you're in a hurry or whatever, and you just don't want to get into it, you know. But I had that situation, especially if it's somewhere like work or something like that where you go repeatedly. It's just eventually you're just gonna have to like fess up, and you know,
exactly.
You're just gonna keep asking.
People you see regularly, like coworkers, people you see at the store all the time. Sometimes, especially, it's really funny when they just think you dye your hair constantly, and then at a certain point, you just have to kind of.
Right.
Going back to the cruise one, so how many wigs do you think you brought on the cruise?
So I brought too many. I ended up only wearing 2.
Okay.
But I brought a couple of synthetics and a couple of human hair. And I don't know, I just kept wearing kind of the same too. You know, we went to Alaska, so a lot of times I had a beanie on, and I told myself, oh, I'm going to wear my, you know, my hat wig for a hat, and I'm going to do, and then I didn't. Because, you know, you just want to travel and just be on your trip, and, you know, so, but I think it depends on the occasions too. I just kept, I mostly wore a human hair one that I wear a lot. And then I wore my synthetic one to just one night. And it was funny because we were seeing the same people and nobody asked me, but a couple people I could tell they were like, giving me the eye, like, wait a second, something's different about her, you know, but nope, nothing came up. So, but you know, that kind of situation, you do see the same people, but they don't know you. So a lot of times they won't say anything, you know.
So you said you brought both synthetic and human hair wigs. What are your preferred situations to wear each? And like what kind of, when do you choose to wear synthetic? When do you choose to wear human hair? Do you really have a strong preference with that?
I just kind of get in a mood for the day. And, you know, like the other day I wore a short blonde wig just because I was like, I haven't worn short hair for a while, you know, but for the cruise, I kind of planned it around, you know, you have like a formal night, and then I had to plan for the excursions we were going on, you know, and stuff. And so my general rule is I love synthetic when I'm going to be out in weather, because of course, human hair, rain, wind is going to affect your style. And I love the fact that a synthetic wig will hold its style. But the only exception to that is if I know it's going to be super windy, then I don't want a synthetic to get all blown. So if I choose to wear a synthetic so that it'll hold more style, then I might braid it or put it in a low pony or do something like that, headband and a pony. Or like I said, I was wearing a beanie, so, you know, pull it back in a, you know, low pony or something, just to control, because I don't want my synthetic fibers to get all, you know, windblown and just matted and tangled and that kind of thing. So
yeah, that's a really great tip as well. Just being able to, if you want to wear a longer synthetic wig, but you know it's going to be really windy, just putting it in a braid or something like that can make a huge difference in just kind of managing the hair for the day.
Yeah, because, you know, your fibers, you want to take care of your fibers, and especially your nape tangles so easily, you know, so I just try to be mindful of all that kind of stuff, because I try to make my wigs last for, you know, as long as I possibly can. So
right, definitely. So tell me about the wig you're wearing now. So we were mentioning it before. We're both wearing the Avalon wig, and I see you have it styled in a really gorgeous braid, like we were just talking about braids. So tell me why you chose to personalize it in that way and how you styled it.
And I love the way you have your style too. So we both have smaller faces. So so Avalon is a basic cap on top, and it has a lace front. So I always like to show the lace front. Everybody always wants to see the lace front. Really nice front. So, but I guess maybe because of it's the amount of hair that's on the wig, and also I think the basic cap top, because you've got to have some permatease up there, you know, and some hair up there to cover that top, of course. I decided to just I kind of pulled it over dramatically, almost to the end of the lace front, but not quite. So the ear tab is right here. And I kind of like that look, like when you can pull the hair over really dramatically like that. And then I put a little braid, and then I just pulled it. Can you see that?
Yeah.
You know, I put a little bobby pin. So, you know, you can just use like a fun little clip or a fun little bobby pin like that. And these bobby pins, these bigger ones, they really hold wig hair well. And then I had to insert just a couple little bobby pins just because the braid was a little, I'm not the best at braiding, I'll just be honest. And so I just, but it worked. So I just put that in there just to control a couple of the little hairs. But I think it turned out really, really cute.
Yeah.
And what it does is it enables me to wear this style and to have less of the bulk of the hair around my face. And but I love this, you know, this long part here that, you know, just a little less hair right around my face just works better with my face shape. So that was why I decided to do a little style. And I thought it would be fun to show it styled, because I want everybody who's watching to see that, you know, you can have a lot of fun. And wig hair, honestly, it can be really easy. Like compared to my bio hair was super thin and straight, and it wouldn't hold a braid. It had gotten to where it would hardly hold a ponytail. So, I mean, I'm like, woo, let's have fun with all this hair.
Working with.
Right. So, you know, so there's lots of things you could do. This one is also really pretty. It's got plenty of length, like, you know, to put a side braid or something like that. That would be really pretty in it too. So, and of course it would be really neat for updos and stuff like that. So
I also just remembered somebody asked earlier what colors we were both wearing. So this one is Spring Honey R, which means it has the root. So which color are you wearing?
That's pretty. So this is Maple Sugar R. So it's rooted also. And it's got the really pretty auburn, and I didn't look the shade up, but a golden blonde going through it, golden blonde highlight. So
yeah,
really, really pretty.
That's a really gorgeous color on you. Is that a color you had tried before, or was it?
I don't think I've tried this, but I always wanted to. So I was excited when I saw that this one was Maple Sugar R. So really, really pretty. So
I love all the different tones in that. And I also love having, so like certain colors, like both of the ones we're wearing, sometimes they come with roots and sometimes they don't. And that just depends if the little R is at the end. And that's just completely up to personal preference. Some people don't want the root, but a benefit of the root is kind of giving the effect of your own like hair growing in after getting it dyed. So which would happen pretty quickly after getting your own hair dyed. Your roots would inevitably grow in. So it kind of just gives it a little bit more of a realistic touch, but that's totally a personal preference thing as well.
I like that too. And on a top where you don't have a mono part, if you have a rooted color, it definitely gives you you can see more of a part there. So I like that too with a rooted color. If you have more of a basic cap, or basic cap with a lace front, that's a nice little trick to make your part look more realistic. So
yeah, definitely. And what you were saying before about, so Avalon is definitely like a voluminous style. Like I feel like when I want to look really glamorous, I kind of just let it out fully. And then like you saw before, the way I just have it styled, it's kind of the same idea as what you're doing with the braids. I always just kind of like tuck it behind my ear if I just want like to make it more toned down. So even just doing that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So I think it's so fun when you get a new wig just to like play around with the different ways you want to style it. If you want to dress up, how would you style it? If you want to tone it down, how would you style it? And I just love what you did with the hair.
I love that too. And that's, some people are intimidated by having long synthetics because they're just afraid, oh, it's just not going to last. But you can wear, you can get yourself a long synthetic just to wear in updos. Like, you can put it up in a messy bun or whatever and go out and run your errands. And, it's really, they're fun to, just as simple. That's like my favorite updo, because I'm not really that much of a hairstylist, but you can put this in a beautiful ponytail, and then
ponytail, especially a ponytail with curls, I think it's just so cute.
Yeah, it is pretty. The waves are so pretty. Or like I was saying, a side pony would be pretty. Definitely. And that makes them a little easier to me to maintain. If you're just worried about the maintenance on it, then just get it to style it and have fun with it, or get it for like a special occasion, but get it for date night, or, night out at a concert with your friends or whatever,
Yeah, it's also so fun to have a wig. Maybe let's say this is the wig I want to have for my curly hairstyle, and then I have a wig that's the same length but same color but a straight style. So it's almost like if you want to curl your hair, all you have to do is switch wigs, and so then you have perfect curls.
Yeah, I love that. I always call those sister styles, and I love that, especially because especially if it's regular synthetic, of course, you're not going to go in and curl it, obviously, but it is nice because then you just get the same color, and one day you're wearing your hair straight and the next day you're wearing your hair wavy, and nobody's going to know.
Yes, that's an especially good tip for people who maybe just don't want anyone to know that it's a wig, but you can still play around with kind of colors and styles in the same general category, but still make little changes here and there just to have fun with switching it up too. So can you tell me about how you kind of came to terms with your alopecia? You mentioned before the story of how it fell out, how you kind of discovered it, but was there a kind of moment or something you did to just kind of help yourself become confident again and kind of come to terms with it?
Well, honestly, when it first happened, I really leaned on my faith, and I just said, I feel like this can be used for good. And that was I just immediately sort of told myself, because I'd been through the devastation, because it took about a month for all my hair to fall out. So I'd been through all and I also, with that allergen that they put on my head, I ended up having like a full body reaction to it. It's ridiculous. So I had this rash, and I had a rash, and my hair's falling out, and I'm like, oh, I've never felt that here. Thank you so much, But anyway, so I think I had kind of dealt with the emotion of that. And when I started wearing wigs, I was just kind of like, well, this is how it has to be. So I have to accept this, and I just have to figure out how to do something good with this, because if I don't do something good with this and focus that energy on something positive, then I'm going to waller in self-pity, and so I didn't want to do that. So that's what I've done. And I ended up speaking to a group of ladies about 5 months after I had lost my hair and telling like a group of 100 women that I had lost my hair. And that I just never, I don't think without my faith, I don't think that, you know, that would have happened. Because I just was like, you know what, because there might be one lady in that room, you know, that's kind of what I told I was like, there might be one lady in that room that needs to hear you say this. So you be brave and you get up there and you tell them your story. And, you know, it's just, at the end of the day, it's just, I know it's not just our hair, but I also thought of my friends who'd been through cancer treatment and this kind of, and I was like, well, you know, I have friends, they've lost their breasts and their hair, or they've, you know, had all these surgeries or whatever and lost their hair, or they have a horrible, you know, autoimmune illness on top of having their hair loss, you know. And I tried to put it into perspective that way, and just to try to keep myself from getting in the poor me mode. But I'm not going to say that I didn't have my moments. Where I was
Which
like,
is completely valid. And I think there's real strength in letting yourself have those moments, but then not letting yourself just be stuck in that place. I think that's really amazing to hear.
Yes. And after I spoke about it, some women did come up to me and they shared their stories with me, you know, and they were like, I had no idea you were wearing a wig. I never would have known, you know. And there was part of me that was like, well, you didn't have to tell them. They didn't know. But I'm glad that I did it. I'm glad I did it. But, you know, you always have the little voice in the back of your head. But, and then you also, you know, you go through all these steps with like new challenges. So I lost my hair in November. So went through the late fall and into the winter. Well, then I started getting into the summer, and I like to exercise and I like to walk and all that. And I was like, well, now what do I do with that? Because I don't want to like mess up my good wigs sweating in them every day. And I think they're going to be too hot because I'm in Texas and it's really hot, you know. So so then I had to like, that's how your journey is. Then you have to like pass that hurdle of, okay, well, how do I handle this situation and how do I handle that situation, you know? And so I was glad that my kids were grown and I didn't have to deal with like going to the pool, and because that's another thing I would have been like, you know. So, you know, there's just all those different things in your journey, I guess, that you have to overcome. And but it's, once you figure it out, then it's not so bad, you know. So
it's kind of like the learning curve of what you were saying, kind of learning the different kind of wig hacks and just things you can do to kind of switch it up. And you were actually talking to me earlier about a certain trick you do with wigs, that if it is really, really hot, you have a certain preferred wig to wear. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes. So I was telling you about how one of my absolute favorite René of Paris wigs, I have to say, is this halo bob wig, which is just, it's just a halo. But the thing I love about it is that it actually has like half of a wig cap on it. And I cut the adjusters off these because I don't need them. I don't think I have, I think I have to cut the adjusters off of all the ones I have. But it normally, y'all would have an adjuster just like a regular wig, the pull adjuster. So you can adjust the circumference if you need to, but these always fit me so nicely. But the thing I love about this is it has ear tabs, and there's metal. Is there metal in there? Yeah, there's a little piece of metal in there. And so I need the ear tab coverage. So I'll pull this off and show y'all what it looks like. And I've shared this. I have reviews of this and everything. So, but these are just so great. Back my chair up a little bit. So you just hold it like a normal wig. Put it on. And the little band. I have a little piece of tape on my head from having that wig on. So, but anyway, so it just goes on, and it's just this little halo. It does come with bangs that you can attach if you want to. They just Velcro on there. Yeah, but I don't ever see, you know, use the bangs because, so this was the solution that I found after trial and error, trying some different types of, you know, hat hair. But what I love is that this has these ear tabs. So you can put it in an actual pony, a real ponytail, y'all. So this is a big thing when you've lost your hair and you're missing those easy things like you always used to be able to do, putting your hair up to go work out or whatever. So this is so nice. So it'll go in just a normal pony. Then you just fix your nape.
And it still has that good structure for the rest of the wig cap that is there.
Yeah.
It the good structure to hold it in place.
That's what I love about it. So it's this is all wig cap all through here, open wefted, so you have the ventilation, which I love. And then you can take your hat, just like you used to do with your hair, pull your ponytail through. Can you see that? I hate when I'm
Yes, that is so
okay.
cute.
And then you put your hat on and you're good to go.
That's amazing. And you still have a little bit of the hair peeking through, so it really just looks like you're wearing your hat on top of your ponytail. But then for that, you just have one less layer on your head, because you said you live somewhere where it gets very, very hot, like over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So that just seems like such a great solution for when you're exercising. Or
it's such a natural looking ponytail. Like, it looks so much like my hair did. Yeah, it's not like a super huge, and I've tried a lot of different hat wigs, and this is the one I tend to go back to. I mean, it's not that I don't like those. I think that you can wear some hat wigs for just to have it down and just have a hat on your head, you know, to go to an outdoor party or something like that. But as far as like wanting to actually work out, do sports, you know, because I play pickleball, this has been the best solution for me, and I just love it. It works great, and it's not super hot, but I have, you know, of course, if it's 100 degrees, you're going to sweat. Like, there's just no getting around that, right? So I have like 6 of these.
That's amazing.
I just, in the summer, you know, I might play 3 times a week and then also walk. So I might wear one at some point in the day, every day. And so I just wash them, and they wash great. I just wash them with, you know, wig shampoo, wig conditioner, and they wash great, and just dry them on a wig stand, and they work awesome. They, you know, comb them out and they're good to go. So I just love it. It's super comfortable, and so
that's great. I feel like wig tips like that to someone who is brand new to wigs, maybe their hair is just starting to fall out and they don't know anything about wigs yet. This is the fact that you probably came to this idea on your own and figured it out, and you were like, hey, this really works for me. Then it's amazing that you're able to share that online, and someone who's brand new to wigs can find that and not have to go through that same process of
and the money, like
you went through.
that's what I want. That's why I try to share like all these different tips, because I just want like other people's wig journey. I'm hoping maybe you can skip a step that I had to, you know, because there's a lot of people that make these wigs. There's a lot of different types. There are like the hats that have the hair attached on the inside, but they don't tend to have the ear tabs. So I tried those, and it just didn't look, I couldn't put it up in a normal pony. And I just told myself, I'm like, I am going to find something that makes me feel normal. That's what I'm going to do. And there has to be a product out there. I mean, it's, you know, 2023. There's got to be, you know how we are now, right? There's got to be something for me. But this has just been great. And you get just a little peek of hair. It's just totally normal. So I put my sunglasses on. I just put my sunglasses right through, you know, right through the hair, just like I would. And it's funny because I thought that all my friends that I play pickleball with knew that this was, because most of them know that I wear wigs. And this one lady I didn't realize she didn't know I wear wigs. And she came up to me and she goes, gosh, your highlights are gorgeous. Who's highlighting your hair?
Wow.
When I have this on. And I guess the highlights, this is marble brown. Yeah, the marble brown.
Oh, I love that.
And that's such a pretty color. So it does have a really pretty highlight, especially when you're out in the sun, you know. And so she was like, who highlights your hair? Your hair looks gorgeous. And I was like, you didn't know I wear wigs? And she goes, how is that a wig? Like, how does that work? So,
yes, I love that. Moments like that always just are such a nice reminder that it's like, if you don't want to tell people, you don't have to. And then it's just kind of a funny story too, if you do want to.
Yeah, and they're just a part of my life now. So, you know, I don't know who knows and who doesn't know. You know, I kind of just assume everybody knows, but there's still plenty of people that don't, you know. So anyway, it's good. It just gives you an opportunity then to talk about hair loss and, you know, just to try to normalize everything. So.
Yes, definitely. I think normalizing is like the big goal for a lot of people in our community. I know for me, that's the big thing, is it's like a lot of people go through their lives, they don't really see bald women very often, so, or women with hair loss. And so just kind of showing that alopecia exists and explaining what it is, it's just kind of another way to raise awareness. And of course, again, we're talking here today about Alopecia Awareness Month. So yeah, that's just being able to have it come up in conversation is just a great way to kind of spread it within your circle, in your community.
Yes, yeah, for sure. And just, you know, let people know. I mean, as women, you never know what's going to happen to you. You know, you can have, with us, with our hormone stuff that can happen as we age, and, you know, illness and whatever, you know, you might have your hair, and then in a couple of years later, all of a sudden you don't. And you know, COVID is the new hair loss cause. Also, a lot of women have had hair loss issues after COVID, and I've had a lot of people reach out to me and ask me, so I had to educate myself, like, what kind of hair loss is it that they're getting from COVID, you know, because I don't want to give out misinformation. But I had a couple friends that happened to, and they're reaching out like, what am I gonna do, you know? So anyway, but yeah, it's just the more information I think we can get out there, and the more normalized, you know, the more we can normalize it. That's just all good. It's all positive. So
definitely. And then I just hope that future generations, like people who are kids now, if they're going through alopecia, hopefully with every generation it just becomes more and more normalized to the point where it's not a big deal to see a girl with a shaved head or a girl that wears wigs. It's like it can be totally normal, and you could totally have so much fun with it too. It doesn't have to be a complete devastating thing either.
Well, it's funny, like my kids, I have 2 boys who are in college, and the girls that they're friends with, they love my channel.
I love that.
They love to watch my stuff, and they don't need to wear wigs. But you know, they're young. Who knows what'll, you know, you never know what'll happen in the future. So, you know.
Yeah, and I think even for people who don't wear wigs, it's just like fun to see all the different hairstyles that are out there. Even if there's someone who's not gonna go buy a wig themselves at this time in their life, it's just cool to see all of the cool color options and style options and whatnot.
Right. Well, and I love the fact that, you know, especially with the fun colors and stuff, like even if you have all your hair, like don't put your hair through all that processing. If you want to have pink hair for an occasion or just for fun or whatever, go get a fun pink wig or whatever.
Yes.
Or a fun, if you're a blonde and you want to have dark hair, go get a dark wig without putting all, you know, doing all that processing to your hair, you know. So it doesn't have to be alopecia, of course, that you wear, you know, the reason why you wear wigs. You can wear them if you have your hair too. So
definitely. I'm always encouraging my friends to try my wigs out. Be like, oh, you want to try a blonde? Try this one.
Right. Well, and it's also a great way to, like, if you think you want to change your hair color, then maybe try a wig and see if you really like that. You know, try that first before you go and drastically change your color, because, you know, we've all been through the color nightmare from the salon, like, oh no, this isn't what I was thinking, you know, and now I have to wear it until it grows out or whatever, you know. So,
and instead you could just pop one off, put another one on, and just instant change without the commitment too, which is really amazing for people with alopecia or hair loss and people without, of course.
Right.
So just as kind of like a closing question, if you had someone come to you and they were brand new to wigs, did not know anything about wigs, maybe they were just starting to lose their hair, what would kind of be the way you walked them through how to pick a wig that is good for them?
So what I always tell people is go with your most recent hairstyle that you liked and try to find a wig that matches that. That's what I did. I was wearing my hair in a straight, like about a shoulder length bob. So that was my comfort zone. So when I started wearing wigs, I started wearing bobs. And I think I have tried every bob wig that there is.
Good options.
I have a lot of experience with bobs, and I still love a bob cut. I love a short one. I love a longer one. I love a lob that's a little longer, you know. But so that's what I always advise. Like, don't go, even though you might see, you know, you have straight hair and you might be like, well, now I can have curly hair. You know, hold the reins a little. You might, because you might get that curly wig and you might be like, oh my gosh. And then, you know, you're going to have to go through either the return process or maybe you can't return it or whatever, and then you're out the money. So just be kind of, especially if you're hesitant, then go with your comfort zone. Listen to what reviewers are saying about, you know, how much volume the wig has, what the wig density is and all that, and think about what you like to wear in that area. And also realize that if you've been looking at thinning hair or a bald head, anything you put on your head is going to feel like too much hair probably. So ease yourself into it. Wear it if you're not comfortable. Like, I had to get my wig and wear it immediately to a big class that I was in the next day. And I was like, okay, trial by fire, you know, but I don't recommend that, because honestly, the whole time I was sitting there like, oh,
it's always in the back of your mind.
I want to go home, you know.
All right.
Yeah, I was like, oh, is it going to come off? Well, you know. So if you can, then ease yourself into it. Wear it around the house, then go wear it around strangers. Go to the grocery store, go shopping, whatever. Wear it around people you don't know, you know, and then take yourself to that party or take yourself out with, you know, friends or whatever, you know, unless you just have friends that are I mean, most people I think have friends that I hope are supportive, but I hear from people all the time that I think feel very alone in their journey. So that's what I always do. I just go with a hairstyle that you're comfortable with. And then maybe what I did was then I was like, well, you know what? I think I could like branch out from straight hair to wavy, not curly yet, because I'm not used to having curly hair. So I went with wavy. So, you know, there's so many beach wave styles out there now, and great style, looks good on a lot of face shapes. So, you know, maybe then go with some waves. And then the next thing you know, you'll be ordering that curly wig and being like, it's nobody's business, you know?
The blue
Yeah.
wig.
Right. Whatever color, you know, and the same thing with color. I stuck with my brunettes, and then I started to lighten up a little with highlights. And then the next thing I knew, you know, I was wearing a little lighter. I just kind of eased my way. I was like in the blonde club for a long time, and now I'll wear a blonde, no problem. Doesn't bother me. And I made a video showing how, because I always get questions like, how come all these colors look good on you, you know? And a lot of the times it's whatever I'm wearing. So if I wear a color that I feel like washes me out in the hair, then I'll wear like a bright color that works really well with my skin tone, and you can make that hair work like that. So
right, that's such a good point as well. Just the way you style yourself in other ways. For me, the big thing is the way I do my makeup. If I'm wearing like a super glamorous wig, I feel like I have to have my makeup all done up. Whereas if I'm wearing a more casual wig, I feel like I can just go no makeup and it's fine. But I'll change my eyebrow shape, my eyebrow thickness, eyebrow color. It's all about the makeup for me, and clothing as well, definitely.
Do you have your eyebrows?
So I have a little bit of brow hair, and then what I do have is like very blonde, invisible. So this is definitely eyebrow pencil. What about you? You said you still have your lashes and brows? I
still have the lashes and brows, so I never lost those. So that's one thing I have to think about is like I do have the brunette eyebrows, so that's another reason why I like the rooted colors. So if I go with the blonde, I'll do a rooted blonde because it'll still look good with my eyebrows, and just looks like I just, you know, had my hair heavily highlighted or whatever. So
yeah, that's a really good tip as well. Is like the roots really are good to kind of match the eyebrows as well. It's always helpful if you're trying to experiment with lighter colors, but you still want to have a hint of, if you're a brunette naturally, a hint of that. That's really nice for the long rooted colors as well, or like kind of the ombre colors or the melted colors, where they have a darker root, maybe even farther, like maybe up to here or something.
Right.
So still seeing the brunette around your face, and then you have the fun blonde or whatever other pop of color.
Yeah, and I love that because then if the brunette is the primary color that you're comfortable with, you can add in then some lighter shades, but it's not going to be right around your face. Exactly. So that's really easy. You know, that'll work with your skin tone. So maybe if you're, particularly for those who wear, I think when their comfort zone is the really dark brunettes, it's harder and harder for them to lighten up because they're just so used to seeing themselves with the dark hair. And I love that René of Paris does that. They do those long rooted colors, and those work really well for that. So, because then they have some beautiful shades that come, you know, so you can have those lighter strands, but around your face, you'll still have your wheelhouse, you know, your dark color.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so is there any final other closing words of advice you want to give to anyone who's watching or anything like that, or just anything you want to say about alopecia in general before we end the stream?
Well, I try to, like I said, I always try to put a positive spin on alopecia, because it just is, I mean, I just had to accept it. It is what it is. You know, it's just a card I was dealt that I didn't want, but you know, it is what it is. I have to deal with it. So, you know, do your best to think positively, explore, you know, how it is that you want to handle your alopecia. Do you want to just shave your head and brave the shave? Do you want to wear the cute, you know, turbans? Do you want to go into wigs? If you have like the androgenic alopecia where you're missing on top, do you want to just maybe try a topper first and then go into a wig? I always recommend for women, if they don't have too much loss on top, try a topper first, because a wig can be overwhelming, and they may have a lot of bio hair down here that they have to put under the wig, and that can be very frustrating. Yeah, you know, so maybe you need to try a topper first. Do your consults with your retailers, because they're there to help you. They want to try to help you make an informed choice. You know, reach out to me. I'm an open book. You can message me. I'll answer I answer messages, you know, fairly quickly. And or comment on, you know, things, and I'll get back to you and try to get you the information that you need. But definitely reach out to this community, because I could not have gotten to the comfort zone as quickly as I did without seeing other women who were in the same situation as me. And so it has been so helpful to me. This community will embrace you, and they will love on you, and they will, you know, they will do their best to help you. And it's still, even though I've been wearing wigs and I review so many wigs, I show all these wigs, those sweet little comments, those hearts, and, you know, oh, you look beautiful, or that looks so pretty on you, or I love you in curls, or whatever, those still build me. Like, I still need to be built up, because I still, at the end of the day, I pull my wig off and I look at my alopecia every single day, you know. So so definitely reach out, you know, don't hesitate to reach out. It's so important, and this community is amazing. So
yes, yeah, I completely agree with that. It's just amazing to see other people who are going through the same thing, just kind of supporting each other. I know that we're all really definitely here for each other in this community. I also feel weird ending a live stream about alopecia without taking my wig off at the end. So just like,
yeah, I should take mine off too. Take my, whoops, I
just really love what you said at the end there too about your advice about who is choosing like what people's options. They don't necessarily have to go straight to a wig if they don't want to. They can choose to embrace the alopecia, shaved head, or patchy hair look. I honestly also love the patchy hair look. I used to have patches, and those eventually fell out as well. But when I had the patches, I thought that was a really fun look. Like you said, there's turbans, toppers. It's really great to see all the different options available, and no one should ever feel pressure to go for a specific thing. They can, there's still so many options and so many choices as well. So I'm really glad that you brought that up.
You have the cutest little bald head. You just have like the perfect little shaved head. I have shaved mine before, but then I kind of decided, you know, like at night, you know how your head gets cold at night and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of
like love the way that looks too. I think the different like patchy hairstyles, I just think look really cool too. When I had my patches, I always had fun with that.
Yeah. I love all your cosplay things that you do too. Those are so fun. So
thank you so much. Cosplay was also, as a quick side note, cosplay was a good way for me to get kind of training wheels into switching up wigs regularly, because I was nervous to ever switch up wigs before, but then I started to do it for costumes, and then that was a way for me to kind of ease into doing it in my day-to-day life as well.
That's it. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. It's amazing how those little things like you don't think about can help you in your hair loss journey, you know? So.
Yeah, right? Like I never would have expected that to kind of overlap, but that really did help me a lot, just doing it for costumes first.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny how
you do an amazing job.
Oh,
gosh, the costumes are so good. I'm always like, wow. So
thank you so much. Anyway, Lisa, thank you so much for joining me today on this live stream with René of Paris. We should definitely do this again sometime soon. And anyone who's not following Lisa already, go check her out. Beautiful You wig reviews, amazing wig reviews. And also, if you are new to wigs, if you're ever looking at buying a certain wig, I think it is a really great thing to look up reviews for that wig, because then you can really see what it looks like on a person in real life, trying it on a video. So definitely follow Lisa for her amazing wig tips and reviews as well. So thank you so much, Lisa. It was so great hanging out with you tonight. And
yeah, it was fun. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, this was so much fun. And thanks everyone for watching as well.
Yeah, thanks.
Talk to you very soon.
Thanks for watching.
Bye, everyone.